What a start to the season. The Dolphins stun the rugby league world. Harry Grant starts the year on fire and the Premiers don't look like the Panthers of old. Hello and welcome to Fox Sports Lab NRL. I'm Eloise Sohier and with me are NRL legends Josh Morris and Chris Lawrence, as well as stats guru Tim Williams. First, we want to look at the highs and lows of round one. And gents, we can't go past the Dolphins start. They were absolutely incredible, Josh.
Yeah, they were. I don't think too many people tipped them to get the job done against the Roosters, but that's the Wayne Bennett factor. They came in, they played a pretty simple game plan through the middle and really tore the Roosters apart. Jeremy Marshall-King had an outstanding game. Eloise Sohier got the Artie Beats and Legacy medal and was well deserved. And then they had a couple of young fellas, Tessie New and Connolly Lemu-Elu. They both had outstanding games, and it just goes to show if you don't give a team respect, they'll beat you, and I'm on the Dolphins train this week for sure.
Absolutely, my fins are up too. Now, Chris, we just want to talk about, we didn't know what to expect from the Dolphins heading into round one. Now we've seen one game under their belt. What sort of game plan can we expect going forward and how they're going to play their footy for 2023?
I think, as Josh said, a simple game plan, a Wayne Bennett style of game plan, through the middle, with that senior forward pack waiting to get a roll on, and, Jeremy Marshall-King had a great game, and I think particularly as well playing that style of game is going to take a lot of pressure off the two young halves and really give them the opportunity to build into their season, because again they're starting for the first time starting a season with a lot of responsibility. So by playing that style of through the middle is really going to take the pressure off them.
Tim Williams, being very quiet over there. I think last week you backed them right into the corner. How surprised were you of that effort?
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up again, Eloise. Look, it was a good old-fashioned ambush, wasn't it? It had Wayne Bennett's blueprint written all over it, and good luck to him. I think every NRL fan out there was happy to see the Dolphins not only hold their own, but beat essentially the premiership favourites in round one. The challenge now will be, can they back it up? Because the intensity that they put out there in round one was something pretty special. To do that week in, week out at NRL level, these boys will obviously be able to vouch for, is extremely hard to do. So I think at Redcliffe, for another first home game at Redcliffe this week, they'll be able to, but can they do it in round 3, 4 and then at the business end of the season?
Yeah, certainly only time will tell. Now, another big high from round one was Harry Grant's incredible golden point try underneath the post. It was amazing. I mean, Harry Grant, you've played alongside him. How much has his game improved since he's taken into that representative level?
Oh, massively. And when he played at the Tigers, you saw he's going to be a really special player. And over those next couple of years, you're really seeing him evolve. And as Josh would know, you go into these representative camps and you really take your game to another level, learn from a lot of the players in amongst that team. I think he's really taken on a leadership role, particularly with the senior forward pack gone, the Bromwich brothers and Eloise Sohier to the Dolphins. So I think you'll see him go to another level this year, which I hope he does, because I've got him for Dally M.
How big of a blow is it, though, for the Melbourne Storm to be missing Munster for these next couple of weeks, or is it not? Does it not hurt them too much at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, it's probably a good time to have an injury at the start of the season. You don't want it happening in the finals lead up. They've got a young halfback there, Jonah Pezzett, who's come through New South Wales 19, so he may get a chance to debut, but I think Harry Grant will just take a bit more responsibility there and lead the side and step up even more than what he has in round one.
Yeah, that's a scary prospect. Now, obviously a bit of a low over the weekend was the Premier's performance out there at Bluebet Stadium at home. Obviously not what we expected, but Tim, you're sort of backing the Premiers to turn this around, and I mean, it's too early to sort of ride them off.
I think it just says everything about the Penrith Panthers that they lost by 1 point in round one, and everyone's sort of riding them off and questioning whether they can do the treble. It shows what a class organisation they are. I think the big factor there's a few, but Sonny Luke coming in, who had a hampered pre-season, missed the 2 trials with a hamstring niggle, played 20-odd minutes on the weekend, came on straight away, scored a try and changed that game. He's a pretty like-for-like replacement to Api Korosi out number 9. They're very different to what Mitch Kenny offers, who played big minutes in round one. I think with bigger minutes going forward, Penrith against a Bunnies forward pack missing again Jair now, Tavita Totola, they can turn the tables.
Chris, do you think the Rabbitohs can get the job done out there?
Yeah, I think so. I think, and don't get me wrong, I think they didn't play poorly, particularly against St Helens and the Broncos. I think it's that aura of invincibility. Once that seems to go, the confidence from other sides comes when you're in the middle of the game and the heat's on. When they are going through a long winning streak, you start to doubt yourself whether you can beat a side like the Panthers. Now that they can show that they've been beaten, even though it's only been by 1 point, that confidence in the back end of the game can get a team like South over the line, and I think the man to do that is Damien Cook. I think he's going to really step up this year. Probably had a quiet season by his accounts, and I think he's going to come and make a statement.
Yeah, certainly they will be eyeing off his game as they come into this one. Now, just lastly, Josh, there's been so much talk off the field away around Mitch Moses and his contract negotiations dragging out. As a player, is it a distraction to be in and around those negotiations and hearing it in the background?
No, as players, we get on with the job. There's probably a couple of jibes here and there in the locker room about how much he's asking for or what he's getting, but that's it. Once you step over on that training paddock or on the field, all that talk's forgotten about, and you just get on with the job. So Mitch Moses may want it to get done quicker, but I don't think it's impacting on the players.
Well, it is early days, but already the heat is on some of the biggest names in the game.
League is life. It's exhilaration, anticipation, highs and highlights. League is everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for League fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
The Rabbitohs were impressive in round one, but they now come up against a Penrith side smarting from a rare home loss. Latrell Mitchell has lit a fuse this week, and Chris Lawrence, you're backing the Rabbitohs to go out there and upset the Penrith Panthers.
Yeah, I think they can make it 2 from 2. Obviously, it's always hard to go to Penrith and beat Penrith, but they've lost their last 2. And they've shown, I think, that level of aura of invincibility is starting to wear off. Sides are going to have confidence they can go to Penrith and get the win. And I think if they are going to get the win, it's going to be Damien Cook. He had a quiet year by his standards last year, and he was sensational in round one. I think he's really going to go to another level over the next couple of weeks. So I'm tipping for him to really lead South. I'm hoping Latrell plays. I think it's going to be a lot harder if he's not playing, but I'm tipping South to get the win.
Who's the man to lead Penrith to a victory, because you're backing the Premiers to go all the way in this one?
Yeah, I think it's Nathan Cleary on the back of his kicking game. You don't often see Penrith lose 2 in a row out there at Penrith Park. So I think the way Sonny Luke played, I think he'll play bigger minutes. I think they'll get him on. And I think with a drier track as well, that will suit the Penrith Panthers. I'm interested to see Latrell's first few hit-ups with that fuse that he's lit, if the Penrith players are bought into that and what it does to them.
Yeah, this certainly shapes as an absolute belter between two clubs not exactly on the best of terms.
League is life. It's exhilaration, anticipation, highs and highlights. League is everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for League fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
Bragging rights north of the border are on the line when great enemies, the Broncos and Cowboys, meet at Suncorp on Friday night. Chris Lawrence is alongside me. Chris, it's a real flip of the coin as to who takes the 2 points in this one. The Cowboys, they've named the same 1-17 from last week. You've got your eye on their number one, Scott Drinkwater.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the difference. It's going to be a cracking game, and it is a flip of the coin. Every time they meet, you know it's going to be a fiery game. It's going to be entertaining, and you know it's going to go down the wire. And I think the 2 number ones could decide it. I'm going to go with Scott Drinkwater. He really showed last year by cementing that spot that he really took charge of the team, and that attacking side of the field is something that he really opened up for the Cowboys. One of the things he does do is he gets on the outside of the second row. You know, really uses his speed, get on the outside of the second row and set up his outside positions, which if he does this week, can be really hard to stop.
Obviously, he's coming up against Reece Walsh, who's making his NRL debut in a Brisbane jersey. What do you like of Reece Walsh's game, but can he match it to Drinkwater?
I think going forward, he's probably going to be the better player and the most dangerous player. But when you look at it's his first game of the season, he might be a little bit underdone in a new team. Yes, he was at the Broncos, but he is in a new system after having a year at the Warriors. So he might take a couple of weeks to come good. So
where is this game won and lost for the Cowboys and the Broncos? And you're tipping the Cowboys for this one?
Yeah, look, I think going down to the halves, you've got 2 senior halfbacks, Chad Townsend and Adam Reynolds. I think the kicking game, it's going to be a close tussle, and then it could be decided by a field goal at the end.
Looking forward to it. These two sides have a history of turning it on in this shapes as another classic.
League is life. It's exhilaration, anticipation, highs and highlights. League is everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for League fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
The The Dolphins are the talk of the NRL after their stunning debut win, but everyone is asking whether they can back it up against the Raiders. Josh Morris is alongside me. Josh, you're in Wayne Bennett's corner for this one.
Yeah, I am. I didn't give them a chance against the Roosters and had my pants pulled down there. So they're playing at their home stadium, KO Stadium there. So I think they'll want to perform in front of their home fans there as well. And after last week's game, they'll have plenty of confidence heading into this round.
What did you really like about the Dolphins in terms of what they were able to put on against the Roosters, and what do you think they can do to the Raiders?
Well, I think they played a pretty simple game plan. They played through the middle and they just took their opportunities when they had them. They completed high, and when they do that, they'll be competitive.
Taking a look at the Raiders, obviously doesn't help that they're missing Jordan Rapana through suspension. They're also missing one of their big men in the middle in Josh Papali'i. How much does that hurt the Raiders?
Yeah, I think it does hurt them. I think Papali'i is one of their best forwards in that pack, and Jordan Rapana is probably their most experienced alongside White, and so they miss quite a bit with them two out.
How much does it mean for the Dolphins if they can make a round two win and make it 2 from 2? How much does that put them up there in the conversation this year?
Yeah, there'll certainly be a lot more jumpers being bought if they can come up with another win against the Raiders, and it's that Wayne Bennett factor as well, that awe surrounding him and the team at the moment. So I'm all for the Dolphins this week.
There you have it. Josh Morris is backing up to go for the Dolphins. All eyes will be on the Dolphins to see if they can build on that first round win.
League is life. It's exhilaration, anticipation, highs and highlights. League is everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for league fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
We have the panel back together to pinpoint the winners of a blockbuster round 2. And first up, we look at Parramatta hosting Cronulla at CommBank Stadium. Now, obviously, both of these sides were first round losers. Josh, can the Sharks get the job done over the Eels out there at CommBank?
Yeah, no, I've gone against them. I've gone the Eels. I think no Wade Graham, no Nico Hines, no Braden Hamlin, Ueli there. They've lost a fair bit of experience there. And CommBank, it's a tough place to go and win. But what is interesting is these are two top 4 sides last year. One of them is going to be 0-2 to start the season. Yeah,
I think with the Sharks, they showed last year their consistency week to week. I don't think they dropped a game back to back. And they showed that when they did have some of those injuries, the guys that came in did a job for them. And I still think without those guys, their bench is far stronger. Eels have obviously got a lot of new players and new combinations, and I still think they're trying to find the key to that.
Talk about those new combinations. Sorry to interject there, Tim, but Josh Hodgson, what did you make of his first round performance, and how did that sort of gel with the spine there?
Yeah, my criticism of the Eels is exactly that, the new combinations there around Josh Hodgson, who I thought he was really good in round 1. He had some terrific moments, set up a really nice try for Jackson Barlow there. My concern is that he needs to essentially probably take a backward step and just know his role at Parramatta. At the Canberra Raiders, he was such a chief playmaker, which is a little bit rare at times for certain number 9s in the game. At Parramatta, he has 2 star halves there in Mitch Moses and Dylan Brown. So as good as he'll be creative there around the ruck, at times he's just going to have to take a back seat and just give early ball to these star halves.
How long does it take when you are coming into a club to sort of understand the way they play and what they're putting out on the park each week? Does it take time?
Yeah, I mean, you've got the pre-season to do that, but nothing simulates anything like the real game. So, you hope it happens sooner rather than later, and get those combinations flowing and going. The big thing is that your spine has to stay uninjured. If you keep the same spine throughout the year, that's where you get that cohesion.
Absolutely. Well, coming off yet another first round win, Melbourne Storm will start hot favourite against a Canterbury side that failed to fire against Manly. No Munster this week. Xavier Coates is back. You've got to back the Storm in this one, just considering what the Bulldogs put out in round 1.
Yeah, and I think it's probably going to be closer than a lot of people think. I think the Storm will win, but I think obviously Munster is a massive loss. Harry Grant's going to have to stand up. He was outstanding, in round 1, but he's going to have to go to another level and really dictate and direct the side, and he's going to have to come up with a lot of their points. Obviously, Munster is that attacking go-to, that X factor. Without him, if the Dogs come and particularly start well and defend well, that's where Harry Grant's going to have to stand up. But I think it is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think.
What really stood out to you in terms of that Bulldogs game, Tim? I mean, where would Serrato really be focusing? And was it just they're all quite young there in terms of a new squad and gelling? I mean, can you give them a chance against the Storm?
Look, they haven't won against Melbourne since 2016, 2017, so the odds are against them in that regard. I think the poor old doggies, there was so much hype around them coming into the new season, but like the Rabbitohs, like the Roosters, so many injuries to their middles. They've got TPJ who's due back in a few weeks and a bunch of others, and I just think they're light on through the middle. So to go down to Melbourne and beat them with a few injuries, I think they're up against it.
Josh, you actually played in the side that beat the Melbourne Storm back in round 6 in 2016. Do you remember that one?
No, I don't, but that's a good stat.
Well, we move on to the other games this weekend. We will talk about, obviously, delayed start for the Dragons. They had the first round bye, but they come up against the Gold Coast Titans. They got the job done over the Tigers. What impressed you most about that game and that hit out at Leichhardt?
Yeah, look, I think it was a good game. Obviously, the Tigers unfortunately got beaten, but I think the Titans played really well. I wasn't in terms of the Tigers game. Didn't think they played poorly. I think it was more the execution of the Titans, and I think they're going to take that to another level this week. I'm really worried about the Dragons. Having a lot of off-season drama is not a great thing to start the season, given where they finished last year. Been a lot of talk about the coach, a lot of off-field dramas. I've got them running last, so I think it's going to be a tough start.
Such a boost as well, leading into this week's game with the announcement of David Fifita re-signing as well. I think a bloke like Kieran Foran can really unlock him and get him playing his best football. I'm not sure if Kieran's playing this weekend or not. Dragons, they've had an extra round to prepare for this game. They want to come out and make a statement, and it'll show their support of the coach if they come out and perform well for him as well.
You touched on David Fifita there. I might take your job for a minute, Tim. There, he ran for 170 metres, 5 tackle busts and a try assist. It earned him 5 Dally M points. What do you love about David Fifita and what he brings to this side?
Well, in terms of round one, it was exactly that. He had 17 runs. That's what we want from David Fifita. We want output, and we've also, the issue's always been, who's the half that can unlock the best out of Dave Fifita? Now, if you said before Kieran Foran signed any half in the NRL, you'd go Kieran Foran. 20 minutes into that game, the unfortunate injury to Beau Fermor meant Fifita switch from the right edge to the left edge. 20 minutes into the game, we put him straight through a hole, set up a try, boom. So I think Foz is the man, and I can't wait to see that combination flourish this year.
So you backing the Titans in this one?
I'm backing the Titans.
Anyone going with the Dragons?
No, I'm with the Titans.
I'm a flip of the coin. If Foran plays Titans, if he doesn't, then I'll go the Dragons. That's how influential I think he can be to that side.
So there you have it. Let's take a look back at some of the other games in round 2. Josh and Tim have backed the Panthers, while Chris, he fancies the Rabbitohs. Josh is the only one going for the Broncos, while Chris and Tim, they like the Cowboys. Josh is backing the Dolphins to do it again in round 2, while Chris and Tim fancy the Raiders. Don't forget to subscribe below and follow us on socials. We'll be back with Fox Sports Lab NRL next week.
League is life. It's exhilaration, anticipation, highs and highlights. League is everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for league fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.